Well, actually, the news could not be more sobering today because it is being announced around the world that Iran will have 5 nuclear weapons by April of 2012. That means that we only have 2 or 3 months left for a military option. Now, let's make sure we understand what's happening here. For many years now, Israel has said, we will not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This is an existential threat to us, and we simply cannot countenance. It will not happen. And none other than Prime Minister Netanyahu has been the most outspoken on that score. Also, the United States of America has said it repeatedly. Iran will not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Let me bring you the story. According to the briefing given to a closed meeting of Jewish leaders in New York Sunday, that was yesterday, the window of opportunity for stopping Iran attaining a nuclear weapon is closing fast. It will shut down altogether after late March 2012. The intelligence reaching U.S. President Barack Obama is that by April, Iran will already have 5 nuclear bombs or warheads, and military action then would generate a dangerous level of radioactive contamination across the Gulf region, the main source of the world's energy. Can you imagine the Middle East going radioactive and all that territory having to be vacated, all of the oil production facilities shutting down? What a potential nightmare. Now, President Obama is still scrambling. He's put all of his faith in sanctions for a long time and to absolutely no avail. Now, as to sanctions, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told a news conference that sanctions against Iran have been exhausted and now the problem should be solved through diplomatic channels. Diplomatic channels? What have we been doing for the last 8 years or so? That's not going to work either. Now, the article goes on to say that Iran with nuclear weapons would pose a threat not only to the region but also to the United States. Now, these are the words of President Obama. This was the first time the U.S. president had called a nuclear-armed Iran a threat to the United States of America. The Jewish leaders meeting Sunday were informed that the Obama administration had intelligence data that the U.S. and Israel have no more than a couple of months left for striking down Iran's military weapons development by force. Sobering? You better believe. Why? Why do I say it's possibly the most sobering news that's ever come to the human race? Because there's a prophecy that a war's coming from just this part of the world, from the Euphrates River area, and the result of that war will be the killing of 1/3 of mankind. Now, please hear me clear. I am not saying that this is the scenario that will ignite that war. However, it looks frighteningly like it is. I mean, after all, the prophecy, Revelation 9, verse 13 through 21, says that this war will start from the Euphrates River area. The Euphrates River runs through Iraq alongside the border of Iran. When it empties into the Persian Gulf, you're probably 10 miles or less from the Iranian border. Well, that's where this war will start from, and the result of that war will be the killing of 1/3 of mankind. Now, everybody's saying if Israel or the United States attacks Iran, it will immediately spin out of control, will throw the world into World War III, and it will be the worst war the world's ever known. Well, this war is coming, whether Iran is the spark or not, I cannot tell you. The Bible doesn't give us that detail. The Bible says two things. One, it says that the war will start from the Euphrates River area. The Euphrates starts in Turkey, comes down through Syria, and then about 60% of it is through the nation of Iraq, emptying out in the Persian Gulf just a few miles. It almost touches the border of Iran as it empties into the Persian Gulf. So this is the area where the war will begin. Some people think it began with the invasion of Iraq in 2003 by George W. Bush. I don't know whether that is actually true or not. Nevertheless, I would be remiss if I did not bring these breaking stories to you. Now, if you want to see a detailed explanation of the prophecy, we have a DVD we've produced called World War III. We go into the prophecy in detail. If you'd like to have a copy, call us. 800 Endtime is the number for you to call. Just say you'd like to have a copy of the World War III DVD. But that's where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen. So the question is, I already brought last week to this microphone a breaking story from Great Britain that Great Britain had informed its senior ministers they were expecting a strike against Iran around Christmas time or at least by the first of the year. Now I understand they apparently had possession of this information that I'm only able to bring to you today, and that is that they think that Iran will have 5 nuclear weapons by the month of April. So we are in a very narrow window here. You say, what's the first thing I should do? First thing you should do is make sure you're biblically born again, because there are no guarantees to the outcome of this coming war. Is the war coming? Absolutely. Can it be stopped? No. Now, maybe the war with Iran can be stopped, but the war prophesied in Revelation chapter 9, verse 13 through 21 cannot be stopped. It's written in the prophecies of the Bible. The prophecies always come to pass. Now, if this is that war, and it certainly looks like it could be, the odds appear to be quite high that it could be that war. If it is, then the world is getting ready to face the most horrific war that mankind has ever experienced. I'm talking about a war that will kill 1 person out of 3 on this planet. Now, I know you may think I'm trying to be dramatic, but open your own Bible. I'm not being dramatic. If anything's dramatic, it's that prophecy. Read it for yourself. Revelation chapter number 9, verse number 13 through verse number 21. In particular, pay attention to verses 14 and 15. The war starts when 4 angels are loosed from the great river Euphrates, and a war is precipitated that will kill 1/3 of mankind. I've checked all the translations. They all say the same thing. Some say 1/3 of all the human beings on earth. They get even more explicit. Nevertheless, that's what I'm telling you. So I can't guarantee you that you and I will be here on this earth 3 or 4 months from now. We got 1 chance in 3 of not being here. You, me, we have 1 chance in 3 of not being here. Now, in my opinion, the odds are much greater if you happen to live in the Middle East, in Iran, if you happen to live in part of the Islamic world, or if you're part of China. I think that those are some of the biggest population centers that are going to take the biggest hits. I do not expect the United States of America to be hit as bad. Do I expect us to be hit? Absolutely. The enemies we're going up against right now are not powerless. They do have capabilities, especially if China comes into the mix. China has intercontinental ballistic missiles right now that can reach any city in the United States of America. And if China is involved in this war, and it looks very likely that she will be, then America could be hit. Now, I think all of us should be on our knees before God right now, asking God for mercy. Does the United States of America probably deserve judgment? I have to be honest. Yes, we do. I mean, this country is awash with divorce, with the drive toward justifying same-sex marriage that's being led by our president. I mean, you're talking about the sin that moved God to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. So will we be different? I doubt it. If there's judgment coming to the United States, it will probably occur during this war, during World War III. This war, the Euphrates River War, spoken of in Revelation chapter number 9, verse 13 through 21. So if there's going to be judgment, if 1/3 of mankind is going to die, what portion of that will be American? I tend to think most of China is going to be wiped off the map. I also think the Islamic nations are going to take a horrible hit because they're the number one blockade to the planned New World Order. So they have to be dealt with. They have to be moved out of the way because the Bible prophesies after this war that the Antichrist will rise to power, set up his one world government, and I mean everything will be fast forward from that point on. So, one more time, priorities. Make sure you're biblically born again and living a biblical Christian life. That's the first thing. If you don't know what that means, give us a call. The number's 1-800-ENDTIME. We'll send you our brochure. What do you mean born again? Then after you read that, you may still not understand everything. Call back. Talk to our ministers here. We have people on staff that are available to talk to you every day. So, I'm simply saying, now, will this blow over? I don't know. I've been beating this drum now for 8 years. I've been beating this drum since 2003 when we invaded Iraq. Because the Euphrates River is in Iraq, it looked like that the war was beginning right then. And some people think it actually was, that it actually did. James Woolsey, head of the CIA during the Clinton administration, said that World War III actually started with the attack on the trade towers in 9/11. Newt Gingrich, who now is front runner for the Republican nomination, he believes that World War III began on 9/11. So does Thomas Friedman, famous columnist for the New York Times. So we're not talking about people here that aren't in the news. We're talking about very highly visible people believe this. So we have to think soberly about it today.